In this video I will be giving a quick overview of my Widowhail Spark character. This will not be a full build guide, this is not a budget build. Um, at this point in the league I don't think there's much value in either of those, but I will be working on a more budget friendly build guide kind of video. As a quick teaser for that, I'm working on a POP with more, well, budget friendly items, but still it's like pseudo league start. It's just an ashes, for example. It still needs something to get going, and you can still cut corners to this. Um, but this is purely speculation of what's achievable for me on a week one league start. This has no tattoos in it. This should probably be viable next league. I don't think any of the stuff used in this is gonna get nerfed. However, this video will be going into depth on my current character, the choices I made, the gear I'm using, the gems I'm using, uh, and hopefully I can help some people with that. So, first of all, a quick shout out to Converse. Uh, I've got the build concept of Widowhail Spark from him. He inspired me to do this build. I combined the concept of Widowhail Spark with the aura stackers and made it into a full build. As far as I know, he doesn't play this build. He just put the concept out there. I took it, I played it, I absolutely love the build, and I tried to min-max it as much as I could. And with this video, I hope I will inspire more people to play it. It's absolutely fantastic build. So let's dive into the game actually for a quick showcase. Because the whole premise of this build is that with Widowhail Spark, your sparks get a lot of projectile speed and other stats from your quiver. Widowhail grants 250% increased bonuses from your equipped quiver, and Spark is an interesting skill that scales with all kinds of stats like damage, but also with skill effect duration and projectile speed. And with projectile speed specifically, it scales by allowing you to get multiple hits per spark. And projectile speed itself as a scaler is also directly your clear speed and a lot of quality of life. And that's what makes this build fantastic in my opinion compared to other Spark builds, because it's more focused on that quality of life instead of raw damage, while at the same time scaling damage because you get multiple hits from Spark. So to just quickly showcase, this is how fast my Spark projectiles fly. It's absolutely crazy. If you just spam Spark, you literally can't strike a single Spark projectile anymore. The speed is crazy. The sparks literally fly 2 screens away. Like if I stand over here and I cast, my sparks end up all the way over here. It's insane for clear speed. It's perfect for sanctums, shooting your sparks ahead of you around the corners, killing guards as soon as you arrive there. It even covers areas like Tota pretty well, or certain Uber boss arenas like the Maven arena. You cover up the entire arena with your spark. It's absolutely fantastic. I've got a few showcases on that on my channel, so definitely check those out for specific showcases for them. I will not be doing a live demo now. Instead, let's dive into PUB. So this build is basically an aura stacker, right? So we start off with the full concept of Widowhail Spark with a quiver. This makes your quiver basically the centerpiece of your build. This makes an synthesized quiver especially valuable. Like in this case, I'm getting 30 crit multi extra on my quiver on top of the projectile speed, which is times 3.5 is 105 crit multi. So this it's a lot. As you can see in the bottom, the quiver is literally more than half my damage. It also fixes my chaos res. It's a lot of life. You could also opt to craft it more defensively. You can, for example, instead of crafting damage, you could craft armor and evasion, and suddenly this is giving me 4k armor. Uh, if you skill the evasion further with grace, with a flask, you suddenly get a bunch of armor and evasion from it. Um, in in general, you get a lot of base stats from your quiver. Then on the tree, we're just getting life, mana reservation, aura effect, life grip multi. All these tattoos are all aura effect. In total, I'm using 30 aura effect tattoos for 30% aura effect. And 5, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projectile speed tattoos, and a +1 level of intelligence tattoo. All these are pretty optional, they're just extra damage, extra projectile speed. If you cannot fit in your dex requirement, you can drop these projectile speeds. They're overkill. My spark has a 7 times projectile speed. It's overkill, but it's the whole premise of the build is getting a lot of projectile speed. So I would rather go overboard on it than cut corners on projectile speed. It's a lot of quality of life in my opinion. It's definitely worth it. Other than that, we're getting some skill effect duration with spark skills with I'm using a large cluster jewel with lightning damage is extra cooled because we're converting all our lightning damage to cooled with Call of the Brotherhood. And Dorian's Lesson. Dorian's Lesson is absolutely mandatory. I'm running Petrified Blood for low life, and Petrified Blood essentially caps my HP at 50%. However, my unreserved life is 51%. So there's always a small gap of life that I cannot recover because of Petrified Blood, which keeps my leech active. So by getting leech on my cluster jewel, even though it's only 0.2%, I'm effectively getting overreach, which at that point basically becomes another regen, which is also needed to get damage while leeching active at all times. I'm using a small cluster jewel with 35% increased effect, introspection, mana reservation efficiency. These two nodes give 8% mana efficiency, introspection give 10% aura effect. I'm using a medium cluster jewel with repeater and streamlined, and a watch's eye. This life gain on hit watch's eye, it doesn't do much. Basically, by the time I'm actually taking damage on my life, it's always getting regen back up. My regen does more than the life on hit, but I guess it's a nice extra bonus, right? It's the cheapest free mod watch's eye I could get at the time, within a reasonable price. So it's still nice, but definitely don't overpay for a life gain on hit. It's very minor. Just get any 2 gold mods on a watch's eye and you're good. Then for the other jewels, I'm using Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flash combo for Arcane Blessing. Arcane Blessing is 20% more spell damage. For the Ascendancy, we're an Inquisitor with crit, critical strikes, ignore elemental resistance is very good. Pious Path for regen, Consecrated Ground, basically 3 RF sustain. I'm using 3 Grand Spectrums, one with minimum power charges, one with minimum endurance charges, one with minimum frenzy charges. This just gives me all 3 charges, 3 of each minimum charge. I'm combining the minimum power charge one with Inner Conviction for more spell damage. It also disables gaining power charges, but I'm capping my power charges with the minimum. I'm getting Inner Conviction with a Aura Effect Militant Faith. Militant Faith is giving me Aura Effect and Elemental Resistances per Devotion. Specifically, I'm getting 200 Devotion, which is 20 Aura Effect, and 40 Elemental Resistances. If possible, try to get breakpoints on Aura Effect. like every 10% of our effect is usually a breakpoint because of how PoE is rounded, how numbers are rounded in PoE. Like if you get like 0.5 of something, it gets rounded down. However, usually with most of the auras, if you get 10%, 20%, 30%, you get a next breakpoint where you get some extra damage. So I got 20 from the Militant Faith and 30 from the tattoos, which perfectly balances into 50. If you're using the Militant Faith, definitely using your Natural Instinct over here. This Natural Instinct is giving me 85 devotion, because all these small nodes are giving devotion from the Militant Faith and are technically allocated through your Natural Instinct. So all of these nodes, 555 devotion. Besides the other valuable stats that a Natural Instinct already gives here, which is like movement speed, life, spell damage, cast speed, some intelligence, some honor regen, projectile damage. Just very valuable to have this combination of a Natural Instinct and Militant Faith. Yeah, that's my other Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flash. Other than that, we're always on low life, so pain attunement. We're getting every bit of mana reservation efficiency. I'm packing all the way over here towards Ranger for to get Pierce on my Spark. This actually allows Spark to hit multiple times, otherwise if you don't have Pierce, the Sparks disappear after one hit. Getting the Projectile Mastery for 50% more projectile speed. And I'm anointing Champion of the Cause for even more reservation efficiency in our effect. So that's the 3. For gear, we're converting all the damage from lightning to cold with Call of the Brotherhood. You need them catalyzed with Elemental Catalyst to get 48%, so that's 96% conversion. The last 4% is kind of irrelevant anyways. Then on top we're using Heat Shiver, which converts, or it doesn't convert, we gain 100% of cold damage, that's extra fire damage against frozen enemies. And as long as you have enough average hit damage, you're gonna freeze everything, so you're gonna basically get double damage. On top of that, you also get extra cold damage per chill effect, and you're gonna get 30% chill, so you could get another 30% extra damage. So Heat Shiver is basically 130% extra damage. It's a lot of damage. It's a no-brainer to take. I've got one with the Armor Corruption, and Spark fires 3 additional projectiles. If you do not have the Corruption, you can simply take the 20% increased life reservation efficiency of Skills Mastery instead. And you'll just have to sacrifice 1 point somewhere else for it, which would probably be like 1 point of life, or 1 point of crit multi. Just need to make sure you have 1 point for it. But if you can, definitely get the Corruption. It's a bit costly, but yeah, it's worth it. For the body armor, I've got a Fractured Grasping Mail with 10% of lightning damage and extra chaos damage. Ideally, this would be gold, but I can quickly show you if this would be gold. It's slightly more damage, but it's only 1.4% more damage. So you have to consider the cost of this base versus the cost of the lightning damage base. At the time when I bought it, the lightning damage base was less than 1 divine, and the cold damage base was more than 30 divines. So to me, at that point, it wasn't worth it for only 1% more damage. If you have the funds, you could go for the gold one. It's up to you. Crafted with mana reservation efficiency of skills SSS. You probably need some resistance and dex on your body armor, or get double resistances and get your dex on the boots, but you're gonna need to fit your resistances and stats. Then for prefixes, I simply did a suffix lock field chaos orb for maximum life, crafted life. Implicit aura effect is absolutely best, and I took rough aura effect as the second one. Not 100% sure which individual aura is the best to get as a secondary implicit, but at the time I made it, Rev made the most sense because it's a lightning skill. You could fiddle around in pop if you want. You could simply try here. Haste, okay, it's less damage. Hatred, it is less damage. Probably Rev is the best. I'm not 100% sure, but like you could test around if you want. Then on to the gloves. These are quite generic 8-link gloves for Spark. These are quite common. You can find crafting guides out there on the internet if you want. It's a 3-socket resonator with glyphic fossil, depth fossil, and etheric fossil. You do that until you get the crit chance and either faster casting or crit multi. Then you suffix lock and reforge for the other one. Or alternatively, if you already had the free, that's good as well. Then once you have the free mods, you suffix lock and reforge speed. At that point, you can do either Iceling for the +2, which is about a 1 in 6, or you can just settle for a +1 craft. On the high end, I recommend getting a +2, so you can also add another bench craft like increased damage with leeching, while leeching. But a +1 will do absolutely fine. Then boots, pretty common. Just these are elevated tailwind onslaught elusive boots. I'm getting my onslaught from a silver flask. However, these boots still give me 8% increased attack cost and movement speed while I have onslaught. It's the only reason to get the onslaught mod. I don't need the onslaught on Gale. And then it's tailwind elusive, just speed all around. I specifically chose these ones for the movement speed plus movement speed if you haven't been hit recently, plus movement speed if you haven't been hit recently, and chant. I bought these on the market, by the way. I didn't self-craft them because I needed a tier 1 resistances on them. You can better buy it than gamble on crafting in that case. But I specifically bought them like this because I'm running mostly Sanctum. So the increased movement speed if you haven't been hit recently is up almost all the time in Sanctum. So that's really valuable. Then Ashes, pretty no-brainer here. Mana reservation efficiency, or better said, generic reservation efficiency of skills. It's for both your life and mana. +1 to your spells, to all skill gems, and the quality. For the quality on Ashes, there's breakpoints on your gems. I'll get to that in a bit in the gem section as well. However, just to be short, it's either 20% or 30%. In between 20 or 30 is kinda irrelevant. So try to get a 30%. Otherwise, if you cannot afford a 30%, you just go for anything. Doesn't matter. 20%, 25. There's no difference basically. So then just get a high reservation efficiency one instead. But ideally get a 30% with a high reservation efficiency as well. Obviously, Mage Blood. Alternatively, if you don't have Mage Blood, you can run Cyclopean Call, which is actually a really good build for the build. For Templar in general, for Crit, for Inquisitor in general, I mean. However, this is high-end, so Mage Blood is obvious. We're using Bottled Fate, it's just the best in Slot Flask. Diamond Flask with reduced mana cost. You need reduced mana cost somewhere to get your mana sustainable. If you don't, you'll need to run a Divergent Inspiration instead for reduced mana cost. And you need to run reduced mana cost on your tree, but getting it on the flask is better. Movement speed flask, onslaught flask with gas speed, and I'm using an armor flask with armor. This granite gas flask can be easily swapped for a Stipknight flask with evasion, depending on the content you're running. I prefer determination and armor in Sanctum, where dodge is less reliable. You just want to survive if you do get hit. Well, you shouldn't be getting hit at all in Sanctum, preferably. But if you do get hit, you want that hit to be as little as possible. While well, if you go for dodge and evasion, if you get hit and get one shot anyways, that would be bad. So I recommend armor for Sanctum, but if you're doing something like Tota, Trials of the Ancestor, at a certain point armor becomes irrelevant. So in Trials of the Ancestors, anything will kill you at a certain ranking. So then you will want to go Grace plus Evasion. So definitely adapt that to your situation. Same thing, movement speed. If you're doing Simulacrum, for example, movement speed is irrelevant. You can just drop your Quicksilver Flask and run a Jade Flask or Stipnite Flask with Evasion for better defenses. This damage is also overkill, so you could drop Hatred for Grace, run both Grace Determination, get 2 defensive Flask, and have like 40k evasion, 40k armor, and do simulacrums. Just adapt to the situation that you're in. Then for skills, running a 6-link with Enhance. My Enhance is coupled to Sniper's Mark, it's just extra damage, curse. Divergent Righteous Fire gives extra spell damage and more spell damage. Specifically linked it to Enhance as well, so you get more effect of this buff grants increased spell damage. Blood and Sand, Anomalous Blood and Sand gives projectile speed 1 in Sand Stance. So you always want to be in Sand Stance. Blood Sense is useless. Blood and Sand without the alternate quality is useless. It's just for that quality. It's 74 projectile speed. It's a lot. Which gets multiplied by 1.15 with the mastery. So it's a lot of projectile speed. Definitely worth the 10% mana reservation. But if you do not have the alternate quality, it's useless, so don't run it without this. Flame Dash for movement skill, Molten Shell because I'm running armor. This setup is quite interesting as well. I'm running Summon Holy Relic with Guardian's Blessing. It basically means, Guardian's Blessing means that the Summon Holy Relic is taking a physical degen in exchange for granting you the linked aura, which is in this case haste. But this physical degen can be sustained with regen. So since we're an aura stacker and we have a buffed up vitality, we can sustain the degen on the Holy Relic through our vitality combined with Pious Buff. Pious Buff giving the Consecrated Crown regen to the allies as well. For both life and energy shield, so basically double dipping your regen, which also works for the Holy Relic. So we can sustain the Guardian's Blessing on the Holy Relic, effectively granting a permanent aura. Unlike if you were to go for a Divine Blessing in previous leagues where you have to recast it every X seconds. This works as long as your Somia Holy Relic can survive, which is the case for content like Sanctum, which I've mostly been doing, so that's why I'm running this setup. However, if you're doing content like Simulacrum or Trials of the Ancestor, where your Summon Holy Relic is going to die more often, you could consider running a Divine Blessing setup instead. Just an old school Divine Blessing setup with Divine Blessing, Inspiration, Increased Duration, and True Aura. However, I chose to do it this way because in the content I'm running, it barely dies. It's just a free extra aura that way. Meat Shield makes it a bit more tankier, take less damage, helps keep your Holy Relic alive, basically. In my helmet each year, I'm running my life aura setup, running Heroes of Ice for some explosions, just extra damage. It's a decent chunk of damage. It explodes the monsters, it shatters them. Precision, anomalous precision for the efficiency. Otherwise, it cannot fit on my life. Anomalous arrogance for life preservation, efficiency, and just regular vitality. There's no alternate quality for vitality that does anything for us. We're never on full life. My body armor, I'm running a 6-link aura setup with Enlighten 4. Running Petrified Blood to be low life. Petrified Blood takes a percentage of the damage you take and makes you take the damage over time instead, which is perfect with regen. This basically makes or vitality regen a lot more effective against the damage we're taking, which is just amazing. And it also allows us to reserve a bit of our life for mana, for a bit of our life for auras. I'm running Wrath, Salutary Hatred, and then Determination or Grace, whatever you want based on the situation. You could also drop Hatred for Grace if you need more defense, just whatever you need for alternate qualities. Anomalous Wrath is Aura effect, Anomalous Salutary is Crit Multi, Anomalous Hatred is Chill and Freeze duration, which is actually more important than you would think maybe, because the way freeze works in PoE is that you need a certain duration threshold of freeze for an enemy to actually get frozen. If the freeze is too short, the enemy is the freeze is just discarded. So this alternate quality combined with the extra quality you're getting from Ashes gives 25% increased chill and freeze duration, which gets further multiplied by our aura effect, which means it becomes a lot easier to freeze enemies. At a certain point of damage, that doesn't matter. I'm doing plenty of damage, I will freeze anything. But especially when your damage is on the lower side of things, this alternate quality grants a lot more value. Then Spark is socked in the gloves. Spark, Awakened Spell Echo, Inspiration. If you can sustain your mana cost, you can run the Crit Chance Inspiration. If you need to lower the mana cost, you can run Divergent mana cost for the lower cost. This is needed if you don't run Mage Blood. Awakened Lightning damage is just flat damage that you're lacking from not running a regular Scepter. And it gives +1 levels to spells, so it's really good. For Spark, we're running Divergent Spark for extra projectiles. 20% quality Spark with Ashes for another 30 quality means you're getting 5 extra projectiles from Spark. Default Spark would be projectile speed, but we're getting already tons of projectile speed, so it's better to get additional projectiles instead. 5 projectiles is a lot. In total, I'm getting 17 projectiles for Spark. So yeah, that's good. 5 of which are coming from there, 3 from the helmet, the jaunt. So definitely take a Divergent Spark. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm getting 7 times projectile speed on my Spark. It's definitely overkill, but it's very nice. It's a huge quality of life. I would definitely recommend getting too much projectile speed rather than too little. Also try to get some skill effect duration, because that's not a very Spark skills. You definitely need some peers. I'm getting 4 peers, that's plenty. And this DPS, its full DPS is 63 million. That's only for one Spark hit. It's very difficult to say how many times Spark will actually hit per cast. So the DPS in Pop right now is calculated by just taking average hit times cast speed, which is 63 million, which would be the DPS. So this is saying that every Spark hit, or every Spark cast rather, is only going to hit once. However, with a duration of 3.2 and this amount of projectile speed, you're definitely getting more hits per Spark cast. So if you're only saying like maybe only even 3 hits, I don't know how many hits we're getting per Spark cast, but let's say 3 hits per Spark cast. That would already be up to 188 million. If it's 4, it would be even more. I really don't know. And it really doesn't matter anyways. Like maybe with different version of Spark you're getting more damage. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how these exactly compare. However, this one feels really good. And that's the most important thing. It has a huge quality of life with the projectile speed. It's a direct increase in clear speed and in coverage. And you're getting plenty of damage anyways. I've killed all Uber bosses on this build. I've done all content on this build. It can do it all. So it doesn't matter what the exact damage is. Um, as a final thing, when it comes to the Militant Faith, I want to give a quick demonstration on how to find one. I've personally got a Militant Faith with immune to elemental ailments while on consecrated ground, specifically on this notable, because this notable is energy shield, and I'm not using energy shield really. As you can see on the left, I'm only getting net ES recovery of 77. That's because of the RF degen, and I'm only having 258 energy shield anyways. So ideally you would want it on that notable, so it doesn't really cost you anything. While the alternative is on getting it on Shaper, which is regen, but that regen is more valuable. So try to get it on the energy shield notable if possible. However, it's kind of difficult to find those. So Path of Building has this tool for finding timeless jewels. You can select Militant Faith, Dominus for Inner Conviction, your devotion modifiers, which would be aura effect and elemental resistances, and then select the jewel socket. Filter nodes, and you want to select the node that you want, which would be, let's see what it's called. Where is it? Cloistered. So you want to search by this, search. Here are all the nodes that have, all the Militant Faiths that have this node. However, this is on all the nodes within the radius that I've currently got allocated. But that's not what we want. So instead, if you want to search for this timeless jewel, what I recommend doing is just unselect all these nodes. Now the only node within this radius is this energy shield node. So if we do the same thing now, find timeless jewel, and search again, all of these are on foresight. However, if I copy this to the actual trade site and we look up here, okay, there's one. Problem is you might have to search multiple trades here. But here's the fun thing. Well, not so fun. If I add this Militant Faith here, and I hope it's the case. Yes, okay, look, this is the problem when searching for Militant Faith jewels. Because now there's also a notable on my skill effect duration, and that's something you don't want. Because now it's costing me 25% skill effect duration as well. So you have to just go through the whole list of all the jewels until you find a jewel that has immune to elemental ailments while on consecrated ground on this energy shield notable, and doesn't have any other notable that you actually take covered with another notable. I don't want it to override the skill effect duration. Don't want it to override your life. Alternatively, if you don't want to go through the hassle of that, you can just search for any dominance jewel with those and put it on online only, and you just take the first one and you test that one and see if does that work. So let's see. Nope, I'm losing two notables. Next one. You continue that until there's no notable take.